to change your life in 2025, then hear me loud and clear. Stop chasing noise and start chasing growth. Too many of you are trying to impress people who don't even matter. You don't need more opinions. You need more focus. You don't need louder voices. You need deeper commitment. The truth is, transformation doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in silence. In those early mornings, late nights, when no one's watching, that's where power is built. This is your year to go inward, lock in, and level up. Focus on yourself. Stay silent and let your results make all the noise. In 2025, we are surrounded by noise. Not just physical noise, but mental noise, notifications, opinions, constant updates. Endless voices telling us who to be, what to do, and how to live. In a world that demands attention every second of the day, silence has become rare. And yet it is the very thing that gives us back our power. Silence is not emptiness, it's presence. It's awareness. It's the ability to remain still when everyone else is reacting. And in that stillness lies your strength. When you speak all the time, you leave no room to listen. And when you stop listening, you stop learning. Most powerful individuals in any room are rarely the loudest. They're the most observant, the most grounded, the ones who are in tune with the moment, not trying to dominate it. That's the paradox of silence. While it appears passive, it is actually one of the most active and intentional states you can embody, because it takes strength to stay silent when your ego wants to shout. It takes discipline to observe when your emotions want to react. It takes wisdom to choose presence over performance. People think silence is weakness. That if you're not constantly speaking up, asserting yourself, or broadcasting your every move, you're being left behind. But that's a shallow view of progress. That's what the world wants you to believe, so you stay caught in the game of appearances. But the truth is, progress is not always loud. Transformation is not always visible. Some of your greatest growth will happen in silence, when you're alone, working in the dark, training your mind, mastering your emotions, and preparing for the life that no one else sees coming. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you start to realize how much noise is unnecessary. You don't need to respond to every opinion. You don't need to argue to prove your worth. You don't need to explain your dreams or defend your path. In fact, the more you explain, the more you open yourself up to distraction, doubt, and delay. Silence removes those barriers. It shields your vision from contamination. It gives you the freedom to move in alignment with who you are, not who others expect you to be. In 2025, with every voice fighting for attention, there's a kind of quiet dominance in those who don't need the spotlight. The one who listens more than they speak holds the upper hand, because they gather data, understand patterns, and develop clarity, while others are consumed by chaos. The silent individual isn't disengaged. They're engaged in a deeper way. They are dialed into their intuition, to their values, to their purpose. They don't need the world's noise to validate their direction. They've found internal guidance that makes them unstoppable. Think about the best decisions you've ever made in life. Did they come during moments of pressure, distraction, or chaos? Probably not. They came during moments of clarity. Clarity doesn't show up when your mind is overwhelmed. It shows up in the silence, when you breathe, slow down, reflect, and listen. That's where real growth begins. Not when you're reacting to the world, when you disconnect from it long enough to hear your own voice. Not the voice shaped by fear or judgment, but the one rooted in truth. We live in an era where silence is almost feared. People are uncomfortable with it. They fill every pause with noise, every space with something, anything, to avoid the stillness. But those who learn to embrace that stillness are the ones who find themselves. Because silence doesn't just remove noise, it reveals substance. It reveals what matters. It strips away the superficial and brings you face with your habits, your thoughts, your intentions. It makes you confront the parts of yourself that get drowned out by distraction. There's power in choosing to remain quiet when someone tries to provoke you. There's strength in keeping your plans to yourself while others overshare. There's clarity in working silently while others chase approval. This doesn't mean you suppress your voice. It means you choose your moments. You speak with purpose, not just noise. You express with intention, not for validation. Silence is not about muting your truth. It's about strengthening it. You don't need to echo the world to have value. You need to echo your values. Focusing on yourself in 2025 isn't selfish. It's essential. The distractions, the digital addiction, the endless comparison traps, they all steal from you. They steal time, energy, confidence. But silence reclaims it. It's a way of protecting your mind, your goals, your process. While others are trying to be seen, you're building. While others are competing, you're creating. While others are reacting, you're refining. Eventually, when it's time to speak, time to act, time to show the results, you do so from a place of power, not pressure. You don't need to announce every step. Let your silence be misunderstood. Let your absence spark curiosity. Let your focus disturb those who don't understand discipline. There's a quiet revolution happening in the hearts of people who no longer care to impress, but only to improve. And in 2025, that's the edge. The rest of the world shouts for attention. You develop mastery. You choose the harder path, not because it's easy, but because it's right. Not because it looks good, but because it feels aligned. That's what silence gives you, the space to realign, to redirect, and to rise. So take the noise of the world as a sign that the real growth is happening where it's quiet, where no one's watching, where no one is clapping yet, That's where champions are made. That's where your future is being forged. In focus, in solitude, in silence. Focus is no longer just a good habit in 2025. It's your competitive edge. In a world engineered to distract you, ability to concentrate on one thing at a time with full energy and intention is what separates success from stagnation. We live in a culture of endless multitasking, a digital environment that constantly pulls our attention in 1,000 directions. Every ping, every swipe, every scroll is a small fracture in our mental clarity. But the people who win in this era are not those who try to do everything. They're the ones who guard their focus like a sacred ritual. Distraction is no longer passive. It's strategic. Businesses spend billions engineering apps and devices to hijack your attention, to get you addicted to the dopamine hit of novelty. And once you fall into that cycle, you become a consumer of attention, not a creator of outcomes. That's why focus has become a superpower. It's rare, it's radical, and it's something you have to fight for every single day. When you wake up in the morning, the world is already fighting for your mind. Messages, emails, content, noise. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have clarity on what matters, you'll fall into everyone else's agenda. You'll become reactive instead of proactive. Instead of building your dream, you'll be scrolling through someone else's highlight reel. Instead of sharpening your skills, you'll be stuck in mental clutter. And that's how years disappear, wasted not through laziness, but through scattered energy. This is why personal focus is not about willpower. It's about creating the right environment for deep, meaningful work. It's about eliminating distractions ruthlessly. It's about learning to say no to good things so you can say yes to the right things. You don't need more apps. You need more discipline. You don't need more tools. You need more intention. Because when you protect your focus, you protect your future. The most successful people you admire didn't get there by accident. They didn't stumble their way into mastery. They learned how to focus. They structured their lives so their time went to things that built momentum. They didn't just dream, they designed. They didn't just plan, they prioritized. They didn't just wish, they worked with focused, intentional, uninterrupted action. One block of time at a time, one habit at a time. And in your own life, this kind of focus starts with clarity. You can't focus on what you don't define. You have to know what matters. You have to identify your top priorities, not the 20 things you kind of want to do, but the 1 or 2 things that, if done consistently, create exponential growth in your life. That's the difference between motion and progress. Many people are busy, but not effective. They're active, but not aligned. Focus brings that alignment back. Your energy is finite. Your mind can only hold so many thoughts at once. So every distraction you entertain is a withdrawal from your purpose. Every task switch, every pointless conversation, every unfiltered piece of information, it's stealing mental bandwidth you could be using to grow, build, and evolve. In 2025, it's not about how much you know, it's about how well you can control your attention. Because attention equals time. Time is the one resource you don't get back. When you begin to master focus, everything changes. You stop overcommitting. You stop chasing shiny objects. You become more present in your relationships, more effective in your work. Grounded in your emotions, you become less reactive and more deliberate. You choose your actions based on long-term vision, not short-term stimulation. And the best part is, focus compounds. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. Just like a muscle, your ability to concentrate grows with use. But make no mistake, this isn't easy. In fact, it's incredibly difficult to stay focused in a world that profits off your distraction. That's why most people won't do it. They'll take the easy path, the comfortable one, the one filled with entertainment, comparison, and endless opinions. But comfort never created greatness. Distraction never led to mastery, and scrolling never built a legacy. You need to train your focus with the same urgency as your physical health, because without it, your goals stay dreams, your vision stays blurry, and your potential stays unrealized. This is the year to reclaim your focus. Set boundaries, build routines, create spaces that pull you into the work that matters. Put your phone in another room, block out time for deep thinking, protect your mornings, reflect on your progress, be intentional with what you consume, be selective with who you listen to. Don't just be available to everyone and everything. Your focus is not public property. It's a personal asset. Treat it like gold. And understand this, the mind that is constantly distracted cannot be at peace. When your attention is fragmented, your energy is fragmented. When your mind is always elsewhere, your life feels chaotic. But the moment you reclaim your attention, when you fully engage in what's in front of you, you shut out the noise and go deep. That's when life feels different. That's when you start moving forward with purpose, not just motion. That's when momentum kicks in and everything starts to click. Focus is not about being rigid. It's about being free. Because when you focus, you finish. When you finish, you build confidence. When you build confidence, you take bigger risks. And when you take bigger risks, you grow. That's the cycle. That's the reward. It all starts with your ability to control what you give your mind to, day by day, task by task, thought by thought. So in 2025, let this be the year you choose to focus not just on what you want, but on what you're willing to eliminate to get there. Don't follow every trend. Don't chase every opportunity. Don't let every opinion shake your belief. Be focused. Be grounded. Be ruthless with distractions, and you'll begin to see a level of growth that no amount of noise could ever give you. That's the quiet power of a focused life. In today's world, people are addicted to approval. Every post is a request to be seen. Every comment is a cry to be validated. And every like, every share, every reaction is interpreted as a measure of self-worth. Here's the truth most won't say out loud. Approval is a trap. It keeps you small. It keeps you dependent. It keeps you stuck chasing someone else's standard of success instead of creating your own. And if you don't break free from that need, you'll never truly grow. Real growth doesn't happen when everyone's watching. It doesn't happen when you're trying to impress, perform, or fit in. Real growth happens in the moments no one sees. It happens when you're by yourself. You're doing the boring, unglamorous work that doesn't earn applause but builds character. It's in those early mornings when you choose discipline over comfort. It's in the late nights when you're learning instead of scrolling. It's in the silence when no one is clapping for you, but you keep going anyway because your purpose is louder than your ego. People have confused visibility with value. Just because something is seen doesn't mean it's meaningful. Just because someone validates your path doesn't mean it's right for you. You have to understand approval is external, growth is internal. The more you chase validation, the more disconnected you become from your own voice. You start shaping your decisions around what will get applause instead of what will build legacy. And that's how people lose themselves. They start building a life that looks good on the outside but feels empty on the inside. To grow, you have to disconnect from the need to be understood. Not everyone will get your journey. Not everyone will support your discipline. Not everyone will celebrate your elevation. And they're not supposed to. Growth is personal. It's sacred. It's between you and the future version of yourself. If you keep waiting for someone to clap for you before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. You don't need validation to begin. You need commitment. You don't need approval to grow. You need focus. You don't need to be seen. You need to become. The reality is this: the more you evolve, the more people will question you. They'll say you've changed, and they're right. That's the whole point. You're not here to stay the same. You're not here to make people comfortable. You're not here to keep shrinking yourself so others can feel secure. Growth demands discomfort. It demands risk. It demands stepping out of the familiar, even if it means being misunderstood. If you can't handle being misunderstood, you're not ready for greatness. Because the higher you go, the fewer people will get it. And that's okay. Stop sharing every step. Stop posting every thought. Stop explaining every move. There's nothing wrong with keeping your transformation private. In fact, some of your best work will be done in silence. Some of your biggest breakthroughs will come when no one is looking. And when the results start to show, let them speak for themselves. You don't need to explain what you're building to people who aren't even building themselves. Your job is to grow, not to convince. Your job is to rise, not to please. Your job is to fulfill your purpose, not to feed your ego. This is why inner work is so important. You can't build lasting growth on a weak foundation. If your confidence is based on compliments, what happens when the compliments stop? If your self-worth is built on followers, what happens when the spotlight fades? If your worth is built on self-respect, self-awareness, and self-discipline, nothing can shake it. That's the kind of growth that lasts. That's the kind of person who doesn't just rise, they stay elevated. So many people want to grow publicly because they're addicted to the reaction, but true transformation is quiet. It's private. It's messy. It doesn't come with an audience. It comes with consistency, with sacrifice, with long stretches of time where nothing looks different on the surface, but deep inside, everything is changing. You're rewiring your mindset. You're upgrading your habits. You're letting go of toxic patterns. That work may not get you likes or claps, but it will get you freedom. And that's the ultimate reward. Not attention, not recognition. Freedom. Freedom from needing others to tell you you're enough. Freedom from living based on someone else's opinion. Freedom from the performance trap. Because when you're free, you can focus. You can commit. You can build with clarity and intention. You no longer need the noise of the crowd. You have the certainty of your mission. Don't let people who don't know your struggle define your success. Don't let the world trick you into thinking you need to broadcast your healing, your hustle, your progress to make it real. You don't. The realest things in life are often invisible. The moments of breakthrough, the quiet decisions to keep going, the mental battles you win in silence. That's what builds you. That's what defines you. No one has to see it for it to be valid. This year, decide to grow for you. Not for your parents, not for your friends, not for the likes or the comments, for you. Because you've decided you're worth it. Because you've seen what staying the same costs. Because you know that your future is too valuable to trade for temporary approval. Let people talk. Let them doubt. Let them not understand. You're not building for them. You're building for something far greater. You're building for alignment, for purpose, for peace, for impact. And when you get there, when the results start to show, when the peace sets in, the progress is undeniable. Don't even bother saying, I told you so. Just smile and keep building, because that's the power of someone who chose to grow without needing to be seen. That's the strength of someone who stopped chasing applause and started chasing mastery. And that's the energy that will make 2025 your breakthrough year. Quietly, powerfully, unshakably. In 2025, your energy is your currency. Your energy determines your clarity, your consistency, your creativity, and your capacity to make decisions. Everything you attract, everything you build, and everything you become is a reflection of how you manage and protect that energy. Most people are giving it away to everything and everyone without thinking. They hand it out freely to opinions, arguments, drama, distractions, and toxic connections that drain them instead of developing them. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, exhausted, unmotivated, and confused. If you don't protect your energy, the world will consume it. People will project their fears onto you. Environments will influence your state. Social media will hijack your mind. Conversations that mean nothing will take up space that could have been used for growth. This is why silence matters. Not just silence with your mouth, but silence in your spirit. A silence that means you don't have to respond to every attack. Silence that means you've stopped chasing people who don't align. A silence that says, I know who I am and I don't need to prove it. You don't owe your energy to everyone. Not everyone deserves access to your time, your thoughts, your emotions. You have to be selective, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. Because every time you engage with negativity, you lower your frequency. Every time you let someone pull you into their chaos, you delay your progress. Every time you prioritize peace for others over peace within yourself, you sabotage your growth. You have to become unapologetic about protecting what you're building, especially when no one understands what you're building yet. Too many people are emotionally available to chaos. They feel the need to respond to every insult, to explain themselves in every situation, to fix everything for everyone else. That's not power. That's a distraction. It's a distraction disguised as duty. You can be kind and still say no. You can be compassionate and still disconnect. You can love people and still choose to grow without them. This isn't selfish, it's strategic. Because your future doesn't just depend on who you bring in. It depends on who you stop giving your energy to. Protecting your energy means becoming emotionally disciplined. It means refusing to let your inner world be controlled by your outer world. Someone disrespects you, you don't react, you observe. If someone doubts you, you don't fight, you focus. If someone leaves, you don't chase, you evolve. Every reaction costs energy. And the more emotional control you develop, power you reclaim. You no longer allow other people to direct your story. You write it yourself. Start asking yourself, this conversation fuel me or drain me? Does this person make me feel elevated or exhausted? Is this environment helping me grow or keeping me small? The answers will guide you, but only if you're honest, because deep down, you already know where your energy is being lost. You know which patterns are stealing your progress. You know which relationships are full of resistance instead of growth. The challenge isn't knowing. It's having the courage to act on that knowledge. Your growth will require boundaries. Not because you're cold, but because you're clear. Clear on what matters. Clear on where you're headed. Clear on what you're no longer available for. Boundaries don't block love. They protect peace. They filter access. They keep you aligned. And in 2025, alignment is everything. When your energy is aligned, your decisions get sharper. Your habits become stronger. Your progress speeds up. Your life begins to reflect the version of you you've been working so hard to become. You also need to protect your energy from comparison. It's one of the silent killers of progress. Scrolling through other people's lives and feeling like you're behind, measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel. None of that builds you. All of that weakens your focus. The truth is you're not behind. You're on your own path. Comparing it to someone else's doesn't accelerate your progress. It just steals your peace. Stay in your lane. Water your own grass. Build your own vision. You don't need to be ahead of anyone. You just need to be ahead of who you were yesterday. There will always be people who try to challenge your peace. People who misread your silence as weakness. People who think you've changed and want the old version of you back. The one who was more available, more distracted, more controllable. Let them think what they want. You don't owe them a version of yourself that you've outgrown. When you start protecting your energy, your life will change, but not everyone will celebrate that. Some will resist it. Others will resonate. Those aren't the people you're growing for. This is the season to protect your focus like a fortress. Not everything deserves a response. Not every invitation deserves acceptance. Not every emotion deserves expression. Maturity is learning to pause, to think, to choose, and to act from intention, not impulse. Your emotions are not your enemy, but if you let them drive without direction, they will lead you to places you never meant to go. Protecting your energy means leading yourself. Not perfectly, consciously, moment by moment. The way you spend your energy each day is shaping your future. Are you spending it reacting or creating, arguing or building? Distracted or determined? There's no neutral ground. Every action is either feeding your growth or draining it. That's why silence is powerful. Because when you silence the noise outside, you start hearing what's inside. Your intuition sharpens. Your decisions get cleaner. Your habits become consistent. Your outcomes start aligning with your vision. You don't have to burn bridges. You just have to stop crossing the ones that lead you back to stress, to confusion, to your old self. Sometimes protecting your energy means walking away quietly. No drama. Explanation. Just a decision to preserve your peace and move forward. That's not weakness. That's evolution. And remember, peace isn't passive. It's earned. You earn it by making decisions that align with your values. You earn it by showing up for yourself when no one else does. You earn it by choosing growth over gossip, clarity over chaos, and vision over validation. That's how you protect your energy in 2025. Not by becoming hard, but by becoming clear on who you are. Clear on what matters. Clear on where you're going. and unshakably committed to protecting that path from anything or anyone who tries to pull you away from it. Discipline and routine are not restrictions, they are liberation. Addicted to instant gratification distractions and comfort, discipline has become a revolutionary act. The people who win, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, are not the ones with the most talent or the loudest voices. They are the ones who do what needs to be done even when they don't feel like it. They are the ones who build routines around their purpose, not their emotions. In 2025, if you want to create extraordinary results, you must become unshakable in your habits and consistent in your discipline. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's not about obsessing over outcomes or controlling every variable. It's about honoring the process even when no one is watching. It's about showing up for yourself, especially on the days when your feelings beg you to take a break. Those quiet moments when it's just you, the task, and the resistance, those are the moments that shape you. That's where character is built. That's where real self-respect is formed. You don't build self-confidence through external praise. You build it through keeping promises to yourself over and over again. Routine is not meant to make your life rigid. It's designed to make your energy automatic. When you eliminate the decision fatigue of should I or shouldn't I, you free up your mind to focus on higher level thinking, your morning routine, your workout schedule, your journaling, your focused work blocks. These things create rhythm, and in rhythm there is flow. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. If your routine is weak, your results will reflect that. But if your routine is strong, it becomes your safety net when motivation disappears. Everyone wants motivation, but motivation is not what builds success. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. It's unreliable. But discipline is stable. Discipline is what shows up when motivation doesn't. It's the voice that says, I don't want to do this, but I will anyway. That's the difference between dreamers and doers. Dreamers wait to feel like it. Doers build structure so they don't have to. And the truth is, the more disciplined you become, the more freedom you earn, because discipline gives you options. It creates progress. It builds momentum, and momentum compounds. Most people never change their life because they keep negotiating with their excuses. They keep hitting the snooze button, skipping the plan, breaking the promise. Then they wonder why nothing changes. But nothing changes until you do. That change doesn't happen all at once. It happens through small, consistent disciplines practiced daily. It's not the one-time effort that transforms you. It's the repetition, the grind, the commitment to mastery. You adopt the mindset that excellence is your standard, not your occasional effort. Everything shifts. And don't mistake routine for monotony. The people at the highest levels are not bored by repetition. They are fueled by it because they know that greatness is built in the repetition. The same way a body is built in the gym by doing reps, your mind, your habits, and your identity are built in the gym of life by doing the work over and over again until it becomes who you are. You're not just going through the motions, you're creating neural pathways. You're hardwiring your standards. Every choice is a vote for the person you want to become. The problem is we've been conditioned to chase variety instead of depth. We jump from one idea to the next, one goal to the next, never staying long enough to build true mastery. But if you want to rise in 2025, you need to become obsessed with depth, with discipline, with going deeper on the few things that truly matter. You need to stop dabbling and start committing. Because when you commit, you simplify. And when you simplify, you amplify, you stop being busy, and you start being effective. Routines are the structure that holds your potential together. Without them, your days are scattered, your thoughts are chaotic, and your energy is reactive. But when you have systems, daily repeatable systems, you operate from a place of clarity and power. You don't wonder what to do, you execute. You don't chase motivation, you rely on structure. You don't hope for progress, you guarantee it. Because discipline removes the guesswork. And when you take the guessing out of your day, you remove resistance. That's where progress begins to feel effortless, not because it's easy, but because it's organized. Discipline is not punishment, it's a declaration that you are no longer living at the mercy of your moods. Declaration that you are building a life, not just reacting to one. Every time you say no to distraction, you say yes to direction. Every time you say yes to your routine, you say no to regret. Because regret comes from inconsistency. Knowing you could have done more but didn't, discipline silences that regret. It gives you control. It gives you power. It builds a life that feels earned, not just imagined. There will be days when you want to quit. Days when nothing seems to work. Days when you question if the routine is worth it. That's when you double down. That's when you lean into discipline even harder, because those days are your test. Those are the days that separate the committed from the comfortable. Anyone can be disciplined when it's easy, but discipline that's forged through discomfort, that's the kind that lasts. That's the kind that creates results no one can take from you. And here's the truth most people avoid. Discipline is lonely. Routine is often quiet. While others are partying, you're planning. While others are distracted, you're locked in. While others are seeking comfort, you're choosing growth. But that sacrifice compounds. And over time, life you build in discipline will outshine anything built in distraction. You won't need to talk about it. Your results will speak. Your peace will radiate. Your confidence will show. Because deep down, you'll know you earned this. So don't chase motivation this year. Build discipline. Build routines that align with who you want to be. Stack your habits. Honor your time. Eliminate distractions. Keep your promises, not for the world, for you. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters, that you can look in the mirror and know you showed up. You didn't wait for the perfect moment. You created it. And that's what turns 2025 from just another year to the year everything changed. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. In a world obsessed with talking, explaining, and announcing, there's something deeply powerful about simply showing results, not promises, not plans. Results. In 2025, let your work speak so loudly that it silences every doubt. Let your growth become so visible that it doesn't need a caption. You don't need to convince anyone of your potential. You need to focus on producing evidence. Talking about what you're going to do doesn't move you forward. Action does. Execution does. Consistency does. What people respect isn't noise, it's results. Every minute you spend trying to prove yourself to someone else is a minute taken away from building something real. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of wanting to explain why you're doing what you're doing, justify your silence, defend your boundaries, or respond to criticism. But that's energy wasted, and energy is everything. In 2025, you need all of it directed toward progress, toward mastery, toward the vision you see when no one else does, because that vision isn't for them, it's for you. You owe it to yourself to protect it. You don't rise by explaining your potential, you rise by expressing it through action, through quiet, unrelenting, daily commitment to your craft, your habits, your mission. Not every step needs to be shared. Not every win needs a platform. You're truly focused. There's no time to perform for people. You're too deep in the work to care about the applause. That's where the transformation happens, not in the spotlight, but in the solitude. Not on the stage, but in the silence. It's tempting to want to be seen, to want recognition, to want someone to say, you're doing great, keep going. But the truth is, that's a luxury you may not get, especially early in your journey. You might be building in silence for months, even years without applause. That's when your mindset must be locked in. That's when you need to remember that approval is temporary, but results are undeniable. They don't need to believe in you. They just need to watch. Because when it all unfolds, results will say everything. When you move in silence and act with precision, people will start to notice. Not because you announced it, but because they feel the shift. Your energy changes. Your discipline shows. Your results begin to stack. Eventually, they can't ignore it. The very people who doubted you, who questioned your silence, who misunderstood your focus, they'll have no choice but to respect your evolution. Not because you asked them to, but because your results demand it. There is a type of peace that comes from not needing to explain, from knowing deep down that what you're building is real, from staying committed to the process long after the motivation fades. When you live in alignment, your actions match your vision. You don't need validation. You become internally driven. Your mission becomes your motivator, and your results become your voice. There's nothing louder than a person who has nothing to prove but keeps delivering anyway. Let people doubt you. Let them gossip. Let them misunderstand your silence. That's none of your business. Your business is to focus, to keep showing up, to keep building, to keep leveling up. And when you get there, you won't need to say, I told you so. You just keep going, because real success doesn't look back to argue. It looks forward to grow. And that's where your power lies. Not in being right, not in being liked, in being consistent. Stop telling the world what you're going to do and start showing it. Let them wonder what you're working on. Let them speculate why you've gone quiet. Let them question where you've been, because one day they'll see. One day they'll watch you step into a version of yourself they never imagined. Not because you screamed for attention, but because you stayed rooted in discipline when no one else was watching. Because you moved with purpose when others moved for popularity. In 2025, the people who rise are not the loudest. They're the most focused, the most disciplined, the most intentional. They're not wasting time arguing with people who don't understand the vision. They're too busy becoming undeniable. That's what results do. They make you undeniable. They silence critics. They humble doubters. They shift opinions. They don't require explanations. They speak a universal language: consistency, progress, and proof. You don't need to chase opportunities. When your results are strong enough, the right opportunities start chasing you. You execute at a high level. Your work creates its own demand. Your discipline becomes your marketing. Your routine becomes your brand. Your transformation becomes your legacy. And none of that requires permission. You don't need the world's approval to level up. You need your own commitment. This year, stop wasting energy trying to be understood and start using that energy to become exceptional. The best revenge is not anger. It's not arguments. It's not proving them wrong through words. It's proving yourself right through execution, through showing up day after day, regardless of who's watching, and producing outcomes that speak for themselves. That's the kind of power that can't be debated. It's seen, it's felt, it's respected. And understand this: when you focus on producing results instead of seeking recognition, everything shifts. Your mindset becomes clearer. Your goals become sharper. Your energy becomes more grounded. You stop trying to impress and start trying to improve. And that improvement becomes your elevation. You start playing a different game, a game where consistency beats popularity, substance beats style. So stay silent, stay focused, stay committed. Let your silence offend those who expect you to stay small. Let your focus confuse those who live for distraction. And let your results become your only response. Because in the end, that's what people remember. Not what you said you'd do, but what you actually did.